Peace and blessings. Vibe Tribe is going up once again. It is yours truly, founder of EY Pele Movement, Bakari Jamboa, my beautiful wife, Amani Jamboa. She is the co-founder. And we focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. And we want to thank you all so much for your love and support. For those of you who has followed us on YouTube, we give you thanks. For those of you who subscribed, we give you thanks. For those who have shared and invited, we thank you all for that as well. For those you follow us on Instagram, and also for those who have joined us in the private Facebook group, EY Pele Movement, we give thanks. We're so grateful that these messages have impacted you in such a way where you feel like we're adding value to your life and helping you to grow spiritually. And that's our goal, is to simply help you to grow spiritually, help you to get broken out of these man-made doctrines and traditions and commandments that keeps you incarcerated and keeps you from growing, keeps you from being the spiritual being that you are, keeps you from having that divine experience, okay, that you have a right to have. Okay, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Okay, the person that you see in the mirror is not you. Okay, if your soul separated from your body, okay, the body will hit the floor. Your body is nothing more than just a vehicle to transport you in this earth realm. No different than you driving the car. Okay, the car is not you, and you're not the car, but it's just a vehicle. And if you're not driving it, the car doesn't move, it doesn't go anywhere. And that's how this body is here. Okay, so we thank you again so much. Okay, so today's is going to be a very powerful lesson. Okay, it's a touching lesson to me because I have a background in the church. Okay, for those who do not know, I am a former bishop. At the time I had relinquished my position, I was actually an apostle elect. And I just want to share this with you real quick. Just a photo of myself to show you that was me right there. That was on the day of my ordination. That was in 2015. Okay, where I was, consecrated at the time. I was under approximately about a 2-year observation, and I was actually establishing works. Okay, I was literally erecting temples in the United States of America, and I was actually getting ready to go over to Africa. Okay, and start a work over in Africa. It was a brother over in Africa had reached out to me, and I was going to go over there and do that. At this time of my consecration, I had been preaching for a total of about 18 years at the time. I had started preaching when I was 20 years old. Okay, I had taught Sunday school to the youth. I taught Sunday school to the adults. Okay, I did evangelism work. I actually went out into the communities. Okay, I fed the poor. Okay, I seen about the sick and the shut-in. Okay, I put in work. Okay, and I was very concerned about people's souls. I was very, very persuaded in my mind, okay, that if you didn't follow after the Christian doctrine, your soul will be lost forever. And I'm so grateful that I came to the true knowledge of the truth, okay, that, we were spiritual beings prior to that. And so I just wanted to give you a backdrop and just let you know that I understand the mindset that some have. And we get ready to dive into this Bible study because this Bible study is going to be proof, because what I get tired of is seeing us being taken advantage of. Okay. And at the time, believe it or not, when I was actually ordained at that time, I did not enforce tithes. Okay. Because I already had found out prior to talking to some of my Hebrew brothers in the faith, that it was being taught wrong. And so me being who I am, I said, okay, let me go back. Let me research, okay, what they're saying. Okay. And so I did a very extensive research. Okay. And I found out that they were actually right. Okay. That it was being taught wrong. And so the problem I'm having with this doctrine is that Christians are so quick to tell you that they're not under the law anymore. They're under grace, but tithing is actually under the law. Okay. And even though tithing is addressed in the New Testament, okay, it's not enforced like it was in the Old Testament under the Torah, okay, under the law. Okay, it is not. Okay, and that's what really separates the Hebrew faith from the Christian faith. Okay, so we have to get this straight. Also, what I encourage you to do is for you to research for yourself. Okay, I'm actually do a study. Stand by for that. It's going to be a very brief one. It won't take long. Okay, and what I encourage you to do is to go check the so-called Messiah prophecy about being born of a virgin. Unfortunately, that is misinterpreted too. Okay, that was a sign to a king. Okay, according to the book of the prophet in the scriptural text. Okay, and I'm gonna do that one to you. I'm gonna show that one to you in the near future too, because I believe in showing you book, chapter, verse. I want you to see I'm not making nothing up. I'm not interpreting it the way I want to interpret it. Okay, like many love to do. Okay, and try to make it mean what they want it to mean. I'm going to give you tonight book, chapter, verse, and show you that the tithe was never money. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to show you book, chapter, and verse that the tithing was never the money. Now, also, what many people do is, and I was this way too until, again, my Hebrew brothers, I'm telling you, I'm not talking about the extremist ones that's on the corner yelling and screaming at everybody. I wasn't part of a camp like that. I don't get down like that. That's not how I move. That's not my personality. Okay. You draw people by telling them the truth in love, okay? And that does not mean that you don't tell them the truth that convicts them or cuts them or humbles them. You understand? Many people misconstrue that and think, oh, it's not love if you get upset. No, it depends on the delivery. If I'm telling you something in love and you getting upset, that means that's what man of spirit you're in. You're getting upset because you're not spiritually mature. Okay, and it's hard for you to embrace the truth that you are in error and that you have been deceived for a long time, but you don't want to deal with that. Okay, and I've dealt with that with people getting upset. Okay, with me with speaking these truths. Okay, peace and blessings to my beautiful queen in the building. She's out here, so we're going to get into the lesson. Okay, make sure you share and invite. Okay, we're getting ready to dive in here. Just give me one moment, please, and thank you. I want to get set up on Instagram, but in the meantime, would you please share and invite? That'd be great because people really need to hear this. I'm tired of our people giving away their rent money. I'm tired of people because nothing in there says for them to do that. Nothing in there says for people to do that. But you got these line prophets. Oh, because they like to use the scripture where the prophet Eliyahu, okay, with some as Elijah, but the Hebrew side is totally different. But anyway, because there's no J, all right, in the Hebraic language, all right. So nevertheless, they like to use that verse and get people to stand in these offering lines, $20 line, $30 line, $40 line. Okay, it is what it is. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to speak the truth, and that's just the way it goes. Okay, and they use that verse. Oh, just give unto the prophet and everything like that. But see, what they do is, again, they misinterpret that verse because it says that she gave some of what she had, not all of what she had. And unfortunately, a lot of people end up being in excessive debt. This is why I'm teaching this. Some people, utilities are being turned off. Some people, cars are being repossessed. And you're not going to hear this on social media. You're not really going to hear people tell the truth about it. I'm straight up about it because guess what? I was a victim of that same mindset where I had to double up on my bills, okay, because people putting all this pressure on you about tithing and oh, you don't have faith, and if you don't give, you're going to be cursed, and it's terroristic tactics. Okay, in one breath, you have the scriptural text saying the wicked borrow and don't pay back. Yes, go look it up. It says the wicked borrow and don't pay back. Okay. All right. Then it talks about rendering to Caesar's what is Caesar's. Right. So that means you should not be refraining from paying your debts. Okay. Your bills. When you need your electricity to cook your food, you need your water to bathe. You understand? And then this person walking around with, Gucci on, Louis Vuitton on, and they have these Bentleys and these Mercedes Benzes. And listen, first of all, I'm telling you firsthand, I seen it. I experienced it. I actually rebuked a fellow apostle in the faith when I was in the faith, because every time I turned around, when somebody wanted to talk to him, he was always asking, do they have an offering? I'm not playing this game. Okay, you got some money hungry people. You got wolves in sheep clothing that's cloaking themselves, that's money hungry and handling the scriptures deceitfully. And you have people, okay, being in excessive debt, barely can pay their bills. You got families being broken apart. And in fact, you got some people that don't even want to go to church no more because their mama and daddy kept giving away their money to the church and couldn't even afford to take care of them. Listen, you got a right to enjoy the fruit of your labor. You understand? You work so your needs and your wants can be taken care of. But some of us been persuaded in our mind that, oh, we're suffering for Christ. Oh, no, that's just the devil. No, it's not the devil. And I'm tired of our people being deceived by this external force that's called Satan, that's always trying to influence them to do the right thing. Yeah, but they call it the wrong thing. No, you need to be feeding your family and taking care of your family. And let's get into this study. I'm going to show you book, chapter, and verse again. What I'm going to be addressing is that the tithe wasn't money. And I'm also going to show you that it was only for the house of Israel. I cannot forget that. It was only for the house of Israel. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to give you book, chapter, and verse. I want you to go back and study yourself. If you're not taking good notes, okay, you missed the notes. All right. Only thing you have to do, I'm going to give you the email address at the end of this session. And then you just email me and I have no problem. I could send it to you. I have it in a Microsoft Word document and I'll send you the actual scriptural references, okay, that I'm touching on this evening, okay? All right, but just give me a minute to get set up over here on Instagram real quick. See what you went through. Thank you, sweetheart. I know it wasn't no sound because I didn't want people hearing me talking to the family on Instagram, the Vibe Tribe on Instagram. All right. So Vibe Tribe, we're ready to go live. You're ready to do this Bible study here. Okay, so now, as I always like to say, you gotta, when you teach something, you got to teach these things in perspective. You always got to look at, when you're dealing with these type of things, you got to look at the who. Okay, so we're going to start with Numbers chapter number 18, verses 24 through 26. Okay, Numbers chapter number 18. Okay, verses 24 through 26. All right, and it says, but the tithes of the children of Israel. Look at that. But the tithes of the children of Israel. So unfortunately, people try to take a ethnical spiritual system and they take it out of text and try to make it for everybody because of the Greek, okay, because of what the Roman Catholic Church has done, okay, who made up the New Testament, okay, and people can argue and say the Old Testament is made up too, okay, but for the sake of argument, we're trying to keep these things within context. Okay, so you can't change this right here. Okay, it says don't change one jot or one tittle, right? Okay, so it says right here, but the tithes of the children of who? Israel, which they offer as a heave offering unto who? The Lord, unto Adonai. I have given to the Levites to inherit, therefore I have said unto them, among the children of Israel, they shall have no inheritance. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, thus speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, when ye take of the children of Israel the tithes, which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then you shall offer up and heave offering of it for the Lord, even a tenth part of the tenth. You do not hear this a lot. Okay, but the priest was even supposed to give a tenth of the tenth. This won't be a long session, you know, because the scriptures speak for itself. It don't take much for you to understand this. Okay, now we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter number 14, verses 22 through 29. Deuteronomy chapter number 14, verses 22 through 29. And again, what I'm proving to you is that the tithe was only for the Israelites according to the scriptures. So these pastors that are beating you up over the head, these apostles, these bishops, these pastors, these elders, these evangelists, okay, these deacons that taking up the offering, okay, they are in error, okay, because the only way they can do this, unless they can prove that these men are of the tribe of Levi, okay, and the sons of Aaron, and they're supposed to be in the priesthood. And even the temple is supposed to be totally structured, totally different, because it was in the holiest of holies. And they took the sacrifices, and that's where they burnt the sacrifices at. They had this outer court area too, according to the scripture. But you know, we'll save that for another time too, to prove something to you, because in order for you to see that these things as lies as being taught, I have to point these things out so you can see the truth, and then you'll be able to know it's lies. So I have to highlight the truths first. All right, now we're going to begin. Be sure to set aside a tenth of all that your fields produce. Be sure to set aside a tenth, verse number 22, a tenth of all that your fields produce each year. Eat the tithe of your what? Grain, new wine, and olive oil, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks, in the presence of the Lord your God, at the place he will choose as a dwelling for his name. Pay close attention to these texts, so that you may learn to revere the Lord your God always. But if that place, now check this out, now watch it, now here's where you see where the tithe is turned into money. It was not money, but it was turned into money. Watch it. But if that place, verse number 24, but if that place is too distant and you have been blessed by the Lord your God and cannot carry your tithe, because the place where the Lord will choose to put his name is too far. Then exchange your tithe, watch it, for silver, and take the silver with you and go to the place the Lord your God will choose. Now watch this, verse number 26. Use the silver to buy whatever you like: cattle, sheep, wine, or other fermented drink, or anything you wish. How many of you learned this growing up? Then you and your household shall eat there in the presence of the Lord your God and rejoice. Verse number 27. And do not neglect the Levites living in your towns, for they have no allotment or inheritance of their own. Verse number 28. At the end of the year, now check this out. At the end of every, 3 years, bring all. Now, we're going to deal with Malachi chapter number 3, okay? Because, see, this is what is leading up to. Because I want you to get the backdrop to understand why the reason why I'm saying that they are in error in regards to the way that they interpret the text. All right? Watch this. At the end of every 3 years, bring all the tithes of that year's produce. Produce. Now watch this now. And store it into your towns. Does that word store spark anything in your spirit? The store, bring all the tithes in the store. Okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Verse number 29. And believe it or not, the Bible study is almost over because I'm tired of seeing our people being deceived, and I'm tired of people mishandling the scriptures and handling it deceitfully. Now watch this, at verse number 21, so that the Levites who have no allotment or inheritance of their own, and the foreigners, the fatherless, and the widows who live in your towns may come and eat. How many of you heard about this growing up? And be satisfied, and so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. Now, if you're going to teach this, teach the whole thing. Don't. And see, that is the problem with a lot of Christians. They're not taught right. Study to show thyself approved. A workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Now, if somebody is starting in Malachi chapter number 3, and they haven't went to all these other verses first, then guess what? They're not rightly dividing the word of truth, and you have been miseducated. All right, now we're going to go to Malachi chapter number 1, and beloved, it's almost done. We're getting ready to close shop on this here in a minute, okay? But what now, for those who just tuned in, listen, I have a comment pinned there, Vibe Tribe, that's on Instagram. Please go and check out the entire video, the slideshow presentation, where you can actually see the scripts before you in the slideshow on our YouTube channel. The only thing you have to do is go to our link in the bio, click on that link in the bio, or when you go there, go to the live tab. Okay, to the live tab. There's a tab now that's there all the way to the right-hand side that says live. You click on that, or it should already be live, okay? But if you can't find it, check that out. Go to that tab. You'll find it there. Now, what we're talking about is the proper contextual text of the tithe, okay? That it was not money, that it was only supposed to be for the house of Israel, and it was only supposed to be given to the Levitical priesthood. Okay, so we're debunking these lies. Unfortunately, a lot of Christians been teaching for a long time, for decades, okay, been lying, okay, and misinterpreting the scripture and not teaching it right, okay, because you have to understand who is being talked to, and believe it or not, it's an ethnical teaching. It's an ethnical book, okay? It is a book that's for the house of Israel, okay? Now, why is it in the text it says, I am the God and Father of Abraham, Isaac, and of Jacob? And when it says, when my people who call by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and forgive who? Their sins. Now I want you to check this out. I want you, everybody who's listening to me now, on the sound of my voice, if you're serious about coming into the knowledge of the truth and you truly want to get free, then I guarantee you, you'll research these scriptures, you'll find that this man that's talking to you is a man of truth. I guarantee you nobody will be able to debunk what I'm saying. I guarantee you this. Listen, there's a couple times where you hear the prophets talking. You hear the prophets talking directly to the house of Israel. And then whenever Israel had an enemy, in certain cases, the word will be given directly to their enemy. Okay? Just like Moshe was told to go to Pharaoh and say, let my people go. Check the record. And then you have, whenever the house of Israel was in some type of captivity or in trouble, okay, and they was fighting against some type of enemy of another nation, then you'll have a prophet get the word and talk to somebody outside of the nation. But other than that, when it came to keeping the commandments, like circumcision, like the Passat, okay, the Shabbat, which some of you know as the Passover, okay, all right, you talking about the Shabbat is the Sabbath, okay, so that was commandments for the house of Israel. The house of Israel, it was only to the house of Israel. All right, now we're going to get back to this. We're getting ready to end this study because it's so simple, beloved. If you can't capture this after all these scriptures, something is wrong. Okay, something is wrong. All right, Sister Shay, thank you for tuning in. Brother Tony, thank you for tuning in. All right, now we're going to get back to the text. Now watch this. We're getting ready to close. We're getting ready to wrap it up. Again, it's to prove that the tithe was only for the house of Israel. The house of Israel. Malachi, chapter number 1, verse number 1. Watch who the prophet is talking to. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. Malachi again. Let me move the slide for you that's on Facebook here. There we go. I'm sorry, beloved. I was so excited about these truths. I forgot to hit the slide, but I hit it this time. There you go. It's right there in your face. Bam. Now check it out because I want you to see it yourself. Now it says, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. Now we're going to go to Malachi chapter number 3, verse number 8. And I'm going to do a cross reference very quickly. And I'm going to take you back to what you heard me read earlier about the storehouse. Okay. Now it says, will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, in what way have we robbed you? In tithes and what? Offerings. You are cursed with the curse, verse number 9, for you have robbed me, even this whole nation. Now, I didn't give you the whole entire verse number 10 because I'm just trying to make a point. Okay, so you could go back and read it in its complete entirety, but I'm trying to make a point. Check it out. It says chapter is verse number 10, chapter Malachi chapter number 3, verse number 10. It says, bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Now, let's go back. Let's go back. And in verse number 28 in Deuteronomy chapter number 14, verse number 28. And it says, at the end of every 3 years, bring all the tithes of that year's produce and store it in your towns. And store it in your towns. There go your storehouse. Hey, peace and blessings, brother. Bye for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. And family, our brother, go follow the king. Him and the hip hop group that he's a part of, they're going to be coming on. And we're going to be doing a session about hip hop reformation. Okay, so definitely tune in. My brother's going to come on with the group that he's part of, MCE. Okay, family, that's it for those of you tuned in on Instagram. Hey, good sister Nicole Monday in the building. My good sister that I grew up with, my childhood friend. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in, sis. I appreciate you, family. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that means a lot. All right, so family, we're done for this evening. Okay, again, for those of you, and I promise you that I will give you the email. So I'm going to make sure I be a man of my word. Okay, so for those who want the notes, okay, you want a copy of this, and I was going so fast you couldn't write it down. Okay, so please email me. Okay, email us at eypelemovement@gmail.com. Again, eypelemovement@gmail.com. No dots, no slashes, no none of that. If you want these notes, if you want this whole study I just did with all the scriptures, okay, just email me again at eypelemovement. Okay, remember, no underscores, no slashes, no dots, all together, eypelemovement, okay, at gmail.com, and I will send you the notes, okay? All right, family. So I pray that you have a blessed rest of your evening. May your week be the same. Okay, please make sure that you tune in on this Thursday. Okay, on this Thursday. All right, this Thursday, we're going to have a men's program on this Thursday. Okay, we got the author coming on, Baba Imhotep. Okay, and we're going to be talking about manhood. All right, from an African centered perspective. This is an African centered ministry. Okay, all I welcome, okay, because we're spiritual people. However, just keep in mind, we're coming from an African perspective. Okay, we use African, okay, spiritual teachings as a basis of our, okay, lifestyle, our moral lifestyle. All right. So, African manhood in the 21st century, we're going to be covering this book, okay, by a good brother, Baba Imhotep. Okay, he's going to come on and we're going to talk about that. We got a lot of men that's abandoning the families. Okay, we're calling our women female dogs and whores, and we walking around with our pants sagging, and we killing each other. Okay, we robbing. Okay, we're tearing up our communities. Okay, we're running away from our responsibilities. Okay, even because we don't like the mama, we like to use the excuse our fathers wasn't there. Well, my father wasn't there either in my life, and I still raised my son. Enough is enough. Our women, okay, our nation, okay, our family needs us, and that's the bottom line. It's time to correct the error of our ways, and the only way that can happen, because we live the way we think, is to correct our mindsets in the African-centered way. Okay, again, thank you so much for tuning in on Instagram. I'm out. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Facebook, family. Love you all. It's at 6:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, Facebook Live, and also we're going to be on YouTube. Okay, for the restoration of manhood.